Hey, I'm so glad to be back in studio today. I've got my good friend Jim Bradford, the Deputy Garrison Commander for Fort Knox. He is here with us today to talk to us about all things that are Fort Knox. And we are extremely delighted to have you in studio today because there are a few changes coming in the very near future for our post because we're changing the guard. Honestly, it's a change of the command, but we are going to have a brand new garrison commander tomorrow as Colonel Ritchie steps down, who, if you've watched some of these in the past, Colonel Ritchie's been on here, and thank you to your leadership for engaging the different leaders that we've had out here in some of the different organizations, but big deal tomorrow.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure. I mean, you know, it's kind of changing of the guard, as you highlighted, about every 2 years. Occasionally somebody hangs around for, for the third year, just kind of depending on the unit and the time and things of that nature. But no, he and his family will depart. They're heading to Fort Benning, Georgia, just kind of south of Atlanta. And new family is here, a gentleman by the name of Colonel Dave Holstead. And his family. He is a repeat offender of Fort Knox. Actually been stationed here a couple of times. He's an armor officer, so spent a good deal of his time when the armor school was here as a young lad, and then at one point worked at Human Resources Command out there as well. So he knows how to get on and off gate. If you tell him which direction is West Point or Malvern, he'll be able to kind of point out in the cardinal direction and stuff, and it'll be it will be good. He's still got to get settled in, obviously, and get his feet underneath him, but it'll be it'll be good. And earlier this week, we brought in a new deputy commanding general for USAREC. We've talked in the past about U.S. Army Recruiting Command is expanding, growing, changing, adjusting. All of that is continuing on, but we brought on Brigadier General Vanden Bosch to be the deputy for Lieutenant General Davis, and we actually did that in the Eisenhower Auditorium at Patton Museum, and I know we'll talk a little bit about that as we move forward. So the summer has changed. That's kind of how it always works. New leaders come in, old leaders we say farewell to, and really kind of show them the way out the door. And that's kind of how it works.
And somehow when they come back, they realize, wow, what a great place, right? Which is one of the reasons why I've done this. Obviously, I want to highlight Meade County and our Fort Knox neighbors. You don't really realize what an impact it has on a community when we have our soldiers rotate. And I want to inform our Meade County citizens because I want that connection. I want you to choose to build a house here, or I want you to choose to buy a house that's here, because this is a fabulous place to raise a family when we connect with our soldiers. Because, their kids have been all over the place.
Sure. No, absolutely. Interestingly enough, just purely by happenstance, yesterday we released or let go or started a 2-day canoeing and camping trip that started off of the Ohio River. And they're just kind of, floating down, going to see some different things along that clearly. Brandenburg is one of one of those stops and stuff, and for our single soldiers that kind of see that, they remember that, right?
Yeah.
And it's not to say that when they go to their next location, they're not doing something just as neat and exciting, but they also remember, hey, at Fort Knox, we got to be able to do this. I think that Meade County and the state working to take over Otter Creek for horseback riding, bike riding, just
camping,
camping and hiking, fishing, things of that nature. That's 10 minutes down the road, maybe 10 minutes.
Well, and Otter Creek plays a vital part in the MWR relationship because at the headwaters of Otter Creek is
absolutely. So I think this all kind of understanding what is available in the region,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that you really don't need to drive that far
Mm-hmm.
to be able to participate in the great things that the state and the localities have to offer, I think is fairly unique.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is not always out there.
Well, in saying that too, it's also important as Fort Knox changes, not only in its personnel and leadership, that we also be uniquely aware of those changes that occur with Fort Knox, because with change comes development.
Sure.
Sometimes we try to do less with more, or more with less. And so, can you speak to some of the changes that we're expecting to see? A lot of, you can see nationally that there's a lot of things going on within the government.
Yeah.
We just heard about Aviation Command recently, but there is some growth opportunities for Fort Knox. You want to give some insights, not necessarily definitives, but some insights.
Yeah, sure. No, for sure. I think the last time that we were together, we talked about the Patton Museum. And, interestingly enough, just this past Monday, we brought in some civic leaders. We brought in some elected leaders, particularly the mayor of Radcliffe, because that's where Patton Museum sits. Leadership from the Army Museum Enterprises. To really say, hey, we don't want Patton Museum to go. What are our options? And interestingly enough, we identified several of them that are out there that we can use really over the next year to develop those options, work with those leaders, make some internal decisions. And I think that there's great opportunity to be able to do that, because going back to tourism here. It is not something that is purely hey, this is what I want to see. It is, while I am doing this, that, or the other, wow, let's go to the Patton Museum. I watched the movie. I know a little bit about military history. I'm interested in seeing that, and it's a great opportunity, and it provides a huge leader development opportunity for our soldiers and our organizations on Fort Knox today. We are in the midst of some changes. I think that those changes are not going to happen overnight. We're going to start those around the beginning of the fiscal year, October of this year. And for most of those organizations, it's probably going to take about 12, 18, maybe in some cases 24 months. But I think the Army wants to be aggressive to try to get it done in the next the next year and a half. Likewise. What we're also starting to say is hey, as these units depart, we want to bring in some of these organizations that have been out there on their own in other states and or in high lease areas, and we want to now be able to bring them into Fort Knox. And for those that have been here in the area really for 20 plus years. We know what that ebbs and flows are, right? We know what it was in 2006 and then what it happened in 2010. Then we'll say, oh, well, this happened in 2012. And at the same time, there's also opportunity that has occurred in 2018, 2020. And so we'll have to work our way through that. We'll do various listening sessions and make sure that our congressmen and our senators are also part of that, because we want to protect the economic value of Fort Knox, but at the same time, we want to be very transparent and open with the community as well.
Well, right. I mean, there is a large opportunity for small businesses and everything else as a result of a military installation being in place, just like there is to have Nucor in place. And having that sense of awareness is very beneficial. I think you do a great job taking your time out of the day, and I'm extremely grateful that you do this. We actually do get a lot of people. They don't necessarily watch us while we're on right now. Hopefully one day we'd have a following where they got some Q&A time and some other stuff. But I will tell you, if you are out there listening and you're one of the ones that follow up, when you do put a comment in there, I do get it back to Mr. Bradford, and most of those times we do try to readdress some of those issues. And as you know, obviously the heated discussion was Wilson Gate the last time we talked.
What?
And yeah, no.
You gotta be kidding.
No, I know. And now for our Brandenburg and Meade County folks, that's really not too much. And especially even the folks coming in off of Route 60 or 313, because they're either going to split, they're going to go Brandenburg Gate or they're going to go the Fort Knox front gate. And everybody knows on graduation day, go Brandenburg Gate. But, you know.
For sure. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you know, out of about the 13,000 people that live off the installation but work on the installation, the majority of them live in Hardin County. And so, you know, you kind of think of the Rhineyville,
not for long,
Groves, and
just kidding.
You know, Elizabeth Towns and stuff. And so that is a very active gate. Unfortunately, it's not our industrial gate. It's not our gate where we have the visitor control center and things of that nature. So we just got to a point in Manning that we had to close down. Very, very emotional. Clearly understand that emotion. We are making adjustments accordingly. It is having an effect on the small businesses. We are very communicative to the city of Radcliffe, the Small Business Alliance, and in many cases directly to those business owners. And we're trying to get to a point where we can open it in limited use. We're going to then try to kind of wade into the water a little bit deeper and offer it during some limited hours, and then hopefully over time get there. It's not going to be overnight. We're not trying to sugarcoat it, but that's kind of where we are. You know, where we are today. So the people that work on Fort Knox from professionally, you know, they're having to figure out a new way to get to home. And I'd be the first to tell you. You know, one of the things kind of, you know, leveraging back to, a book title, you know, when you start to move my cheese, I get a little upset. Right?
Yeah, that's a great book.
And, you know, we have definitely moved their cheese, and it's created angst. But we'll get through it. For those that live in Meade County, those that kind of move toward West Point, and that side of Louisville, you know, almost zero, you know, impact.
Yeah.
Even though they would like to have that Brandenburg Gate open in the afternoon, it's a little bit less of an impact for them because they're just going in a different, in a different direction.
Yeah. Well, speaking of gates open and closed, this is Fair Week coming up for Meade County. If you've got your hunger,
Big RTEP, yeah.
Yeah, it is a big RTEP. I mean, this is my favorite. It's probably one of the reasons why I got into this business is so I don't ever miss the county fair. I've had some people tell me it's much cheaper for me to actually go on vacation this week that are from Meade County because they spend all their money and they've got kids and stuff. So, but I get that, but I am so excited because of all the organizations that put food on to support the local kids organizations within the schools, from the swim team to, you know, baseball team, all of them involved, the football team, band.
Absolutely.
There's a laundry list, so we'll get into that tomorrow on Kentucky Talks with Mark Burnett and myself, and David Pace will be on, who's the mayor of Brandenburg, as you know. But you've got a big concert coming up last year. I think it was last year. Yes. We had, oh my gosh, Lieutenant Dan band coming in, but I think it was like right on the last weekend, and this weekend we're split apart, which is great.
Yeah. So we, we're in the middle of cadet summer training.
Yeah.
Actually, we did a fantastic graduation on Wednesday, yesterday. And again, a big, huge shout out. If you've never been to one of those, you got to go. It's free. Yeah. You got to at least do it once. But what we wanted to do is we kind of wanted to offer a music concert on the lawn for our forces that are here from Fort Hood that are here helping to train those cadets.
Yeah.
Wanted an opportunity for the cadets to be able to just go out and, you know, spend a little bit of time, have a hamburger, have a libation of their choice, listen to some mixed genre music, and kind of do that for the hour. But yeah, we've been a little desynced or not necessarily coordinated with the fair schedules of that. But we will offer that on the 26th. But going back to the fair schedule, as I mentioned, we've got Colonel Holstead, new commander. We have got him aligned with Mayor Pace and Judge Koch, and the whole idea is to kind of get him over to the fair as well, introduce him to Meade County, Brandenburg, and really all the great the great folks and stuff. Since I'm a Brandenburger myself, and definitely grew up as a fair kid in my younger days, it's always a good time, whether you're just walking around and seeing the animals, seeing the tractor pull, just taking in the shows, or obviously as a kid, it was all about eating the food.
Yes, sir. If you think, we could get him on our float, I'm going to be driving in the parade, so if he wants to come and wave his hand, I'll gladly put him in the Bronco with the top off.
Well, I'll talk to him about it.
It's on Sunday at 2 o'clock. Don't miss it, guys. The parade, it's finally coming. It's this weekend. I'm coming back from a long week of church camp with my oldest boy. Is amazing. I wanted to be there on Wednesday. I had Carrie Ann fill in for me for the Fort Knox AUSA chapter of your association of the United States Army. And, it was a brilliant parade. I mean, it was just the cadets, the energy that was there. It was just brilliant. And I'm sure the change of command tomorrow is going to be phenomenal. Now, that one is going to be at the Patton Museum, which is off post, correct?
No, it'll be on post in Weber Theater.
Oh, okay, got it. All right.
There as we go forward.
Okay.
We'll have several gold neighbors that representing the region as well as, like I said, as we bid the as the Ritchie family departs.
And Colonel Ritchie, if you're listening, fantastic job well done, sir. Enjoy Fort Benning, Georgia. While you're down there, if you need me to make a couple of calls, I did get the luxury of being the command sergeant major for the brigade for the Army Marksmanship Unit that is down there, and I'm sure you'll get over there and meet those guys. They're a great, amazing team. It's nothing like shooting clays with a gold medalist.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a very diverse mission down there.
They do.
Everything from operational units to training units to really kind of supporting the Army recruiting mission, overall. So,
Well, and MCOE is there, and it's just it's a neat place because you've got tanks and infantry. Bam! If they just pulled in Fort Rucker right over top, that would be crazy. I mean. Sure. Aviation and infantry guy and a guy driving a tank. I mean, hey, it can't get any better. Jim, what can we expect to see as we roll on through the summer coming from Fort Knox? And we typically, I was trying to explain this to some the other day. I said, you do realize we have a turnover of probably anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people that are relocating out of and to Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Generally, and it could be between civilian and military, and they're looking for a place to live. So
yeah, no, absolutely. No, every unit has has a high watermark year. So, for example. A lot of turnover in 1st Theater Sustainment Command, but not much turnover this year in 5th Corps. So, for example, right? But in totality, there's about 4,000 soldiers, service members. Some of them single, some of them family members, some of them live on post, some of them don't live off post. We will change that. Not much of a civilian changeover this year because, quite honestly, we're in this crazy
lockdown,
federal, hiring freeze that's prevented a lot of stuff. So there's a little bit of stagnation there. When I think that this thing opens back up, I don't know if we'll see a big part of that because when that happens, we're going to be in the middle of the school year. And I think a lot of families, particularly on the civilian profession side, they really kind of make those decisions around those life events and stuff, accordingly. But we are moving a big piece. But like every community, we have Vacation Bible School next week. Next week, in a couple of weeks, we start the school year, just like all the counties. By the second week of August, we are done with cadet summer training because all those college kids have got to get back to university and start their their studies back where they are, and it will be a blink of an eye around Labor Day, and then we'll be starting the Commander's Assessment Program, which is where we bring in all those future leaders and put them along a 1-week assessment where we evaluate them to be a future brigade commander or sergeant major, and then the 23rd through the 26th of October is our Raider Challenge week, and that big huge Raider competition.
Sure.
And if you are a parent or a kid in junior ROTC and in high school, you know exactly what that is. So that's kind of that Super Bowl for them to do that competition, and we do that right here at Fort Knox.
Let me throw a shout out, Dr. Martin. I thank you for bringing on ROTC to our Meade County High School. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, we have a team there representing and stuff, and that's just getting bigger and bigger every year and growing. I did see recently they're looking for somebody for Fort Knox High School in their ROTC program, so that's fabulous.
Yeah.
All of this kind of comes together, and then it's just grind until we get to Christmas again, and then we start at January.
Yeah, sure. No, yeah, absolutely. I think like any city and stuff, you know, you got the ebbs and flows of of your city. You got the budget ebbs and flows of that, as well. I think it's Monday. It might be Tuesday of next week. I'm sitting down with the Planning and Zoning Commission in Brandenburg and Meade County, and we're kind of talking about compatibility use. That's just what we do.
Yep.
As a good good partner and steward, is kind of making sure that we are managing growth of the city and the county against the readiness of the installation. And ultimately, we've got to leave that up with those commissioners and city council or the fiscal court to be able to make those decisions.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up today, but I've got a funny for you. I was talking to somebody today because we were coming back from the camp, and I was like, well, let me just put it this way. All right, yes, Fort Knox is the home of the gold. And he asked me, he says, do you really think there's gold in there? I said, I'm pretty positive they've still got gold in there. They wouldn't be paying the Department of Treasury, all of those people to guard it and then keep doing upgrades. I just saw them upgrade the big rams for the gates not too long ago, and those guys didn't get more than 10 feet from the wire to even install that thing. And I told him, I said, it would be ridiculous to even think that you could rob that place, because the weight of gold, to try to even carry the bars of gold, not to mention the aerial pursuit that would go in effect to look for the size of a vehicle that would haul all of that gold, would be ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they are a great partner. For sure. I can tell you this. We recently had a visit from someone from some agency that will remain unnamed from DC that came down here and did an inspection, and so I'm pretty confident that if they left with a smile on their face, that there is what is supposed to be in there is in there.
There you go.
And I think that's, I feel pretty confident about that.
I also think it's interesting. They also store other artifacts and important documents of our nation, which I think is great.
Yeah, that's right. Over the years, that's exactly what they've done. Whether it's critical artifacts out of the Smithsonian. Or other things around the nation, either temporarily or a little bit more long term. But very important, mission compared to what you would see in a mint that is actually producing something for the nation. Yeah,
and if you really want to know what it looks like, go watch the James Bond Goldfinger. Right. I mean, they gassed the entire installation. No, I'm just kidding. It was funny, but
all those movies are always true.
Yeah, that's right. It's on the internet. It must be true.
Exactly.
Hey, and just like this, from the Messenger Studios, Jim, thank you as always for keeping us up to date with our. You're such a great steward, man, and I mean that sincerely. The work you do. If you guys knew how busy this guy was, really, I would tell you that he maximizes. We are getting the every penny out of this guy and our taxpayer dollars. You're a true steward, man. You really connect with all of the communities and surrounding, and I've seen you engage. I'm just privileged to have your time, and I thank you for doing this for our citizens of Meade County.
Absolutely. with it.
Thank you so much, Jim. You guys have a great day. We wish you all the best and everything that you do. And please come out and see them. After the fair, there's a big concert. It's free. You can join them at Fort Knox or come see one of the graduations. They're posted online. And thank you for tuning in to the Messenger Studios. Have a great day.
Take care, all.